Okay, so the list of anime seems to constantly be increasing every day. We as anime fans are eating good because it feels like there's always something new to watch nowadays. And the good thing is, all these animes have different plots, different types of characters, and most importantly, different main characters. Now personally, on my list, I just didn't include certain people because that would just be too long considering the amount of Newgens there are nowadays. Also, I don't know what we're considering Newgen at this point, but for me, I'm gonna start from 2016 to now. And this may annoy certain people, but at 9, I got Itadori Yuji. Personally for me, Yuji's a great character, but he doesn't really do much as a main character if you ask me. I mean, there's a lot of roles he fulfills and he succeeds in them, but he's just not a main character that would ever stick in my mind compared to the other characters in this show. Personally for me, I like underdog characters, and Yuji was never really considered an underdog character. He was tough from the start. I like characters that use straight hands like Yuji, so he's obviously going to be on my list for favourite main characters anyways. Ever since he beat up Mahito and Shibuya, I look at him differently. I look at him with a sense of respect that I didn't have before. But the next one, I feel like I definitely resonate with him more than Yuji because of his backstory. I don't have the same backstory, but I understand his character a lot more because of it. Shinra Kusakabe, they call this man the Devil's Footprint. I said it before in a past video, that is a crazy name and it's hard. Just the animation on this show alone allows you to see what Shinra actually moves like. One of my favorite things about him is the way his face twists into a smile when he's nervous, because that's definitely something I can relate to. Shinra is a tough character, I cannot argue. So for that, he's definitely on my list and deserves this spot at 8, but I don't think he could take number 7. And I think I might even get in trouble for the person at 7, because he comes from such a peak anime that people may be angry about this. But I got Eren Yeager. But Eren is a demon though. Let's get that on the table. This guy was a demon from young. He was killing people from young, long before the Titan powers were even within him. Anyone remember that scene where he was beating up Reiner with straight nubs? And this guy has some of the coldest voice lines in anime. But like I said, part of it is just because he comes from a peak anime. Either way, Eren's story is something that needs to be studied. In fact, Eren Yeager needs to be studied as a whole. Even his name gives you chills, bro. Yeager is a tough name. But next on my list is Tanjiro. My reasons for liking Tanjiro and having him this high up is probably because he makes me and other watchers want to be a better person, while still being one of the toughest guys to ever do it. Go read the manga and see how this guy was bodying Muzan. This guy will give you a nice smile, say the nicest things to you. The second you mess with his sister, you're cooked. People genuinely sleep on Tanjiro simply because he's nice, but that guy can move. And he's actually crazy too. I'm talking about crazy, like in the head. He has schizophrenia. Nobody else saw Makimo and Sabito. From the jump, he's actually been able to move crazy because he almost beheaded Giyu at the start of the show. He may have been your average Joe MC at the start, but as soon as Rengoku died, it unlocked some new sort of personality within him. Entertainment District is where this man began to shine. And is no one going to talk about how this guy can use multiple breathings now? Water breathing, sun breathing. This guy used lightning breathing against Hantengu. So yeah, Tanjiro deserves some hype. Tanjiro is hard. Next one I got is everyone's favorite philosophical character, Thorfinn. Thorfinn gave us 2 completely different characters within 2 seasons, and both of them were peak. First season was crazy. We got to see a man with no chains attached to him go crazy for a whole season. We got to watch this man use the power he inherited from his father to body people. And I'm not talking about superpowers. This guy was using straight Viking strength. Though some people missed the point of the story and after season 1 were no longer interested because they just wanted to see fights. But for the people with a brain, we got to enjoy a second season where he was a completely different person. We got to see a calm, peaceful character who could still run the fade if he needed to.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Thorfinn is a character that you just cannot hate. He's got to be on your list. Now on to the next main character. Call me crazy for putting him above other characters. I don't care. Go argue with your mom. I enjoy this character. Okarun is on my list at 4. First of all, he's a speedster. I love speedsters more than anything. Second of all, his transformation is cold. The whole concept of his transformation is just cold. Also, he's relatable as hell if you're a nerd, which I am. The Underdog pretty much just shines at making characters that are actual people because they have all sort of things going on. Okarun is a gentleman. There was still that time where he called Momo the B word because he's not perfect. He's not a perfect gentleman. That's not the only part of his character. He's a teenager who swears sometimes. And this guy only gets more and more likable as he goes on. The problem people make with other nerd characters is that they never even try to improve themselves. They just go through the story with this same, I'm gonna start to love myself mentality throughout the show, and they end up just ending the show as a nerd. He stays a nerd, but he also tries to improve himself. He's always trying to pick up new workouts, learn new fighting styles, get stronger to protect people. Okarun is a character that you can very easily get on board with. Now for my third one, I can't even believe that he's up this high, but I had to be true to myself. Asta is my third favorite, simply because he's such a refreshing character for Newgen. I feel like in Newgens nowadays, they're always trying to make a serious vibe. They're trying to make the main character cold, maxed out, not really trying that hard, locked in at all times. When really, sometimes we just need an Asta, because it feels like he's just a mixture of a bunch of old gen MCs. But at the same time, sometimes that's what we need. Asta is as underdog as it goes in Newgen. There are still things about him that make him not very underdogish. Yes, this guy is loud, short and annoying, but you eventually get used to it. And you eventually get used to watching him do the random stuff. In fact, as you grow to like Asta when watching Black Clover, you end up hating Yuno even more. Yeah, no, people really do not like that guy. Now on to the next one. And until a few years ago, this guy's been my favorite New Gen MC. But I have to be true to myself, there's someone that's overtaken him. Because Deku may be one of my favorite characters in all of New Gen altogether. Simply because My Hero Academia was one of my first animes. Well, among others, but those weren't like animes that you see people talk about nowadays. And Deku's whole thing about starting from being quirkless is literally like one of my favorite tropes altogether. See how him and Asta are both in my top 3. I like characters that have to improve themselves as things goes on. Deku is quite literally the symbol of heroism. And I don't care about anyone that tries to call him a cinnamon roll at this point. Because now no one can disagree that this man is cold. In fact, the amount of bandwagons I was seeing for Season 7, seeing guys I would see calling Deku trash, but as soon as Season 7 comes out and he's moving crazy, now all of you want to hop on the train. And this man has like 7 quirks now. This man is breaking sound barriers now. Deku is cold and no one can disagree with me on that. And the things he cries about anyway were normal things for a teenager to cry about. Imagine you and your best friend are waiting to get quirks in a world where 80% of the world has quirks. And your best friend gets one and you don't. And then he just bullies you for the rest of your life. I think I would have murked myself by that point. But the reason Deku's only at 2 for me is simply because I feel like he got kind of unrelatable at one point, which is fine because he doesn't have to be relatable the whole way through. But when he started getting like crazy strength, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. So that's why the GOAT Isagi Yoichi has ended up overtaking him. As a character, Isagi Yoichi is so many things. He's a genius. He's a king of adaptation. He's a foul-mouthed footballer, but also a guy with 2 personalities. He's an underdog. He's got everything you like to see in a character, or at least what I like to see. He always shows you something new. There's a reason that Blue Lock has blown up so much. And it's not even because of the rest of the cast, but it's mainly because of Isagi. He's actually an MC that lets people know that he's the MC. You know how many animes I have been catfished by thinking that someone else was the main character? I used to think Gojo was the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen. He's so refreshing as a character because he doesn't have some crazy backstory or anything. He's just like that. That's just who he is. There's not always justification for everything. It's he's crazy and just get on with the story because that's how it is. Best of all, he's an underdog character that's actually an underdog. Let me explain this. It feels like whenever we watch an underdog in anime, it's always like they end up having some chosen power, like a 5 clover grimoire, which is actually extremely rare, or they get handed a power to them like one for all, or they're just part of some prophecy and they end up getting crazy buffs for no reason. But Isagi, Any ability he has right now, we have seen him get it, or we have seen that it was there from the start and it was simply tapped into. They never give him any new skill. They simply enhance what's already there and develop it into something new. Isagi's constant mental maths on the pitch while explaining his feelings is something that is so interesting to read and watch. I could honestly go on about Isagi for days if I wanted to, but I'm not trying to bore you guys. Comment your list down below, drop a subscribe, drop a like.